Hey, good morning, everyone. My name is Chris-Beth Cowie, the founder of Empowered for X and the host of BizGrams. I'm super excited this morning because we get an opportunity to interview dynamic entrepreneurs. And today we have Nikki Clarke from the Nikki Clarke Show and amazing things she does beyond the show as well. So Nikki, thank you so much for being here with us this morning.
Thank you so much for the invitation. It's a pleasure.
Hey, wonderful. So Nikki, tell us a little bit more about yourself and who or what inspired you to start your entrepreneurial journey?
So a little bit about me. I wear many hats, and my entrepreneurial journey, I think, started very early in my, say, teenage years. I, grew up in Montreal, and my parents were always out in the community doing things to, volunteer and to help out. But I was also watching my dad, who was a businessman, and I would follow him to different meetings and networking meetings, and I saw how he would so-called flex. And he's got a really amazing to sell. And I thought, this is something that I like to do. It kind of ignited a passion in me to see what I could do to start my own business. So at 21, I started my own in Montreal, and then things would come and go in terms of entrepreneurial opportunities, but I still had that love for connecting with a new idea, with ideas, seeing how these ideas could fit into the lives of others and help them, physically, spiritually, mentally. And I kind of put that on the back burner, and then went back to school, worked on my degree in film and communications. And then when I left the school I was attending, McGill, for film and communications in Montreal, I started a family and moved to Brampton back in 1991. So I was a stay-at-home mom for a number of years and raised 3 children, but there was still this desire I had to see what I could do in terms of that entrepreneurial journey. What did happen was I ended up teaching. I got a position teaching in the Faculty of Early Childhood Education because I did go back to school while I was raising my 3. I went part-time, and I did a diploma. I got some positions to teach in the School of Business. So then that's when the fire started to burn again. And I said, okay, there's some things that I think I need to do. And if I don't take the chance, if I don't take a leap of faith, I'm really going to regret it. So when I was studying film and communications, I was determined to be, the next Oprah. I saw her after school one day in okay, I'm dating myself, 1987. And I said, I want to absolutely be someone just like her. She's, eloquent. She's dynamic. She's got a really amazing way with people, and she's dealing with stories that I haven't seen on TV. I mean, there were some other shows, I won't mention the names, but they were kind of dealing with kind of superficial elements, and she was really digging deep, to areas where I hadn't seen anyone kind of delve into, and to start this new venture, and started the show with the premise of transforming lives one story at a time. And I invited people from all walks of life to come and share their heart stories, stories of upliftment and empowerment, to help people become unstuck in whatever area they're in, if it's personal or professional. We would have come on, and yes, they would share their accomplishments, but moreover, they would share some of the moments that they had in the valley, and the moments of challenge and discouragement, and what other adjectives there were there that was describing their hard place. We were able to learn from them and to teach to get or climb to the mountain. So for taking that leap of faith, because Chris-Beth been almost 13 years, and I've met some people just like yourself who just they understand the community and the power of and working together, so we can rebuild the narrative. Businesses are supposed to work, and I love what you're doing with Empowered for Times, in terms of helping people make those destinations, that's what I call them, and building upon what they have, and enhancing their skill sets. It's really ideal. So I know we both drink from the same kind of Kool-Aid, we get it, and I think what I wanted to be able to teach, what I've learned, the good, the bad, and the ugly in terms of media production, and be able to help people sideline those steps of mistakes that I made to get to where they need to be in terms of delivering a really professional podcast or a TV delivery, and also how they can boost their business online, because not all social media platforms fit all. Some people think that Facebook and Instagram are the same. Well, they're not. And each one has their own audience. So that's where I'm at right now.
I love what you talked about, with the Nikki Clarke Show in particular, really getting those heart stories. So let's just dive in a little bit, deeper into that. When you say heart stories, what do you mean by that? And who are some of the people that have been on your show that are most memorable, let's say?
Thank you. Well, heart-centered stories are very important for the show. Yes, heart. Because it's really chipping away at the kind of mask that people put up to protect their integrity, so to speak, or protect what they have been working on as a projection of their image. But what I dare people to do when they come on the show is to take those masks off and to really show their vulnerability. But I believe that there's strength in vulnerability, and there's so much that I can learn from their revealing. But, Chris-Beth, as I dare people to do the walk of authenticity, I had to do the same thing, right? And I had to take off my own mask, and I had to get real, and to also share places from places that maybe I didn't have the proper platform to share. But I encourage everyone to, if they wish, I don't force anyone, but if they wish to be candid about what it is they've been through and how they got on the other side, that is the incredible cathartic release of the purpose of the show. And as they're releasing these stories, not only are they being healed, but people who are listening are realizing that they're not in isolation in that particular situation, and that, oh, wait a second, that person went through exactly what I went through, and thank God I have a resource now, because we provide numbers and emails and websites so that people can reach out and connect with the guest, who will now become a resource for them to overcome, get unstuck.
So Nikki, talk to us a little bit more about your entrepreneurial journey. What have been some of the biggest challenges that you've experienced, and the lessons that you've learned or continue to learn as you're navigating?
Well, the last 16 months have been very eye-opening and challenging for a lot of entrepreneurs. And my heart goes out to the businesses that couldn't make it through all the closures and that. I had to make, and this is the word that I learned from so many people, and we all said the same thing, they had to make the pivot. And the pivot was understanding how to come out of a corner, being creative about getting out of that corner of not knowing what the next steps were, or just reframing how you normally do your business. So I loved the connection of having the in-person interviews. So that had to stop for many months because the studio was shut down. and I had to do the pivot online, which is great, but it's not the same, you know. So now that and I'm so grateful to be in your location. Did a beautiful taping not too long ago in your fantastic location, 16 Rutherford Road South in Brampton, my old stomping grounds. It was just so beautiful to actually shake somebody's hand. You didn't realize how awesome that felt to have a human connection. And then if we dared, we're like, "Are you vaccinated?" "Yeah, I'm vaccinated." "Is it going to be okay?" Then we had a mutual consent to hug each other, and I was just like, "Yes, thank you for the hug." It's been months, but yeah. So it was a real learning in terms of understanding how important connections were, how we really cannot take for granted the relationships that we've made over the years, and to learn to be creative in terms of how to approach your business. You're going to have to come up with a plan B, plan C, plan D. That's what I had to do. I'm like, okay. So even as I approached the taping at your location, I'm like, anything can happen. What am I going to do? I have to come up with a plan B. So this whole process taught me that it's important to be flexible, to not give up. Giving up is not an option, and to be creative in getting out of that corner.
What is one of your greatest accomplishments, over these past 16 months? And the song comes to mind for me, but I will let you talk a little bit about the song and anything else you'd like to share as well.
Sure. Well, Chris-Beth, I would just want to say thank you again for giving me this opportunity. And then that's just part of not giving up and just, being creative. But I'm super excited about releasing a song. I had it in me, but the stillness of the days and the solitude, I'm like, okay, I think I can do something here. And a friend of mine sent me a bunch of beats. I like working with younger artists because they're like, no, you got to do it this way, and it's gonna sound like, so they give me their a little bit of spin on it, and it's like it keeps me youthful. So I wrote a song called "For Your Love," which was celebration of God's love and faithfulness to His children, and I'm just like, I'm amazed. The receipt of the song, people really enjoy it. It's being played on radio stations in Canada and New York and beyond. I'm just waiting for the confirmation. And then I did a music video for it, which has been, well received as well. It's being featured in the Canadian International Faith and Film Festival coming out September 18th and 19th. So I got the confirmation, yay, from the company KIF. They call themselves KIF as the acronym. And they said, yeah, you've been selected. So super excited because we've got, they've had people on the show, in the festival, like Kiefer Sutherland, his family, his mom, Shirley, and his father, Donald Sutherland, are just giants in the acting world. So I'm like super excited how God is going to use this song. I had no idea. But this is what happens when you are forced to be creative and you want to be able to still contribute. So I figured out I could be a songwriter now, and I'm working on a couple more songs. So I'm going back in the studio with my young friends and bang out some more hits.
Faith. Let's talk about how faith has helped you throughout your entire entrepreneurial journey. What would you say?
Yeah, that's a great question. Faith is very important to me, and I used to think that I could do things on my own strength, Chris-Beth, that I can use my worldly knowledge, my own understanding to get things done. But these last few months have taught me that I really need to put my faith in practice, because faith without works is dead, right? So I pray and I check in before I make decisions. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but this is what I do. Whatever is a new opportunity or a new relationship or whatever, it has to, for me, get the approval. And I pray for an answer. and I get the answer one way or the other. And it's just like, okay, because, you know, at this point, I'm 53. I know I look younger, but
good genes.
Good genes. You don't want to keep tripping over yourself and making mistakes and slowing things that could be expedited because you're not listening to the right source, or you're listening to your ego, or things that that really can, like I said, block what your destiny or your purpose is. So, and some of those things that is part of your destiny may not even be what you have even conceived of doing, like the example of the gospel song, or even being in certain positions. But God knows best. He knows what is best for you. And sometimes it's a matter of surrendering and saying, okay, yes, Lord. So I've had many of those moments, and I'm learning to humbly submit and say, okay, yes, Lord, I'm not sure, but okay, you have the final say. And then what happens is that when it happens, and I'll use the example of the song and how people receive it, it's just like, wow. Can you imagine if I didn't release that song, Lord? Thank you for, pushing me and encouraging me and keeping me in faith that I can do this, and there's so much more that I can do. So it's very important to follow through with those yes, Lord moments. And God wants to bless his children so much, but he wants to make sure that people are keeping their faith intact, and that's how miracles move, is through faith. And I'm a living, walking testimony of faith. It hasn't been easy for me, but like I said, the faith has gotten me through stuff.
You are definitely an inspiring leader and a role model for myself and others who are up and coming show hosts, as well as, community advocates doing powerful things and really leaning into and those yes, Lord moments. So thank you so much for sharing that as well. Thank you so much. I'm sending you out with lots of love and blessings for today and beyond. And I wish you all the best. See you soon.